You reckon Trump has broken economics?
The single most important figure in international finance is something called the risk-free rate. That's the interest rate you get on the safest investment in the world. Sets the rate for everything else. It's like a North Star of economics.
That Big Dipper looking thing? Ellen!
Your mortgage, credit card bill, car loan, business loan, the value of every company in the world, everything is linked to the risk-free rate. For as long as anyone can remember, the safest investment in the world has been a US 10-year Treasury note. This is a promise made by the government of the USA that if you give the American Treasury $100, that's the value of each note, the US government will pay you a set amount of interest every 6 months for 10 years, at which time the note matures and you get your original $100 back.
Yoink!
And the interest rate the US government charges is the risk-free rate because the US government is the safest investment in the world.
Here's the thing. For the first time in modern history, we're not so sure about that.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
So Trump did break economics.
A little bit. Treasury notes and bonds, pretty much the same thing collectively known as government debt, are like lines of credit for politicians. When government spending on health and education, the army, whatever, exceeds government income from taxes and royalties, the shortfall or deficit is financed by treasury notes.
They're like a credit card.
And the US government in particular has been using the credit card a lot.
Sure, I'll just put it on my credit card. I'm never going to pay it back anyway.
Australia's budget deficit this year is projected to be about $40 billion. America's is $1.3 trillion. Bill Clinton was the last American leader who managed to balance a budget. Successive presidents since then have been living on IOUs.
Is that a joke?
No, it's not. Right now, there are $25 trillion worth of US Treasury notes and bonds out there.
Expensive way to live.
You and I pay, 18% on the Visa or MasterCard, but the US Treasury pays about 4% on its debt, sometimes even less. People who buy US Treasury notes are okay with getting a low rate because it's safe.
Or is it?
One of the world's most fundamental economic principles is that when stock markets are up, demand for US debt drops because investors are more likely to put their money into better performing publicly listed companies.
Greed is right. Greed works.
The corollary is that when shares are in freefall, investors flock to the security and certainty of the US Treasury. Been that way for as long as anyone can remember.
But not anymore.
When world stock markets dropped after Trump's tariff announcements, demand for Treasury notes actually went down.
Because investors don't trust Trump to pay his bills.
There are a few theories about why. That's one of them, though it's unfathomable at this point that the US government will default on its debt obligations.
Or is it?
Regardless of the reason, here's why it's bad news for anyone who owes money on anything in any country, including this one. When demand for US debt drops, the US government has to pay a higher rate of interest or yield to attract investors. Still needs the money to fill that $1.3 trillion hole in the budget, which means the risk-free rate goes up. On April 4, US 10 years paid 3.99%. 3 days later, after some more tariff mania, the rate was 4.2%, and by April 11, it was 4.5%. When the cost of zero risk goes up in America, the cost of everyone's debt everywhere, including Australian mortgages, is repriced up.
That's really bullshit.
No, it's really not. I'm Ben Harvey.